I think there were at least 3 of them. You probably didn't know that Kennedy wasn't the only president assassinated. Besides Lincoln, there were 2 or 3 others, and it all happened in the 1880s. And McKinley in the year 1900, and then there was a guy called I can't remember his name, Garfield in the 1880s. Every 20 years they were assassinating presidents. Yeah, I mean, it's not funny actually. It's pretty sad. So in a situation of that kind, you think that the government in Washington has control of what's going on in Montana and Utah and South Dakota on a day-to-day basis without the communication setup that we even have now? It's it's unimaginable to even think that kind of control could have existed. So, what I'm saying, the massacre, as they called it, Wounded Knee, was a horrific thing. And if you see the pictures of it, because there are pictures by that time, it's really a horrifying thing to see. But the outcome was not surprising of this basically innocent attempt to revive the people's spirits. So, again, it's my usual plea to just try to get along if you can and make the situation better through contact and negotiation and discussing things rather than pushing things to the point of crazy people then going out and blowing everybody away. That way it just causes tragedy for a lot of different people. Anyway, that's what happened here. And that's what he's talking about, that this Black Elk had witnessed the Messiah affair. He had been there. And the end of this book is about his participation in it. He actually, Black Elk has had enough. Even Black Elk was a pretty mild person in many ways. He's had enough, and he describes his participation in the Messiah affair warfare, where I think he got wounded, as I recall. If he didn't get wounded, he got knocked off his horse when he tried to charge some U.S. cavalry people. But he writes about it in a good humored way. He's not really out of his mind with vindictive anger over it. He just tells about it in a almost laughing way, his own participation, because usually he didn't. So that's what he means. Now we're 30 years down the pipeline from that. Black Elk is by this time a fairly old man. And Neihardt then is the American writer who sympathizes with Native American culture and affairs, who is sent to see Black Elk because he's heard that about this man. He said, there's something peculiar about this old man. Last week a lady came up from Lincoln, Nebraska to see him. She wanted to write an article on Crazy Horse, who was the old man's second cousin. I took her over, but the old man wouldn't talk. He's almost blind, and he squinted at her a while and said, I can see you're a nice looking woman, I can feel you're good, but I did not care to talk to you about these things. So again, we get this is where Carlos Castaneda is getting his stuff from, in some ways, the way he's received by his medicine man who smokes him, as he puts it. He's just updating it for 70 or 80 years later. Well, it was a dead-end road that led through treeless yellow hills to Black Elk's home. A one-room log cabin with weeds growing out of the dirt roof. 2 old longhairs who lived in similar cabins inside the road. Mounted ponies followed us, curious to know what was going to happen. Black Elk was standing outside a shade made of pine boughs when we arrived. It was noon. Neihardt goes with his daughter, I think. I have a daughter, and I wish my daughter were as nice to me as Neihardt's daughter is to him. I'd really be a happy father to have a daughter looking after me the way Neihardt's daughter looks after him. If you guys ever have any daughters or sons or things, I hope you have this good fortune that Neihardt has with his offspring, because they really help him, they really take care of him. They're terribly interested in his affairs. They do all the note-taking, huh?
It depends on what kind of father you have.
Yeah, I guess it depends on, no, I don't think it depends on that. It depends on what kind of children you have. But, Anyway, Nyhart's father, Nyhart's children are very dutiful to him, and he's a lucky man in terms of getting his work done, because without his daughter, I don't think he could have gotten half this stuff done. And it was noon when we left after sunset. Flying Hawk said, "That was kind of funny, the way the old man seemed to know you were coming." My son remarked that he had the same impression. So he had his son with him too, not just his daughter. And when I known the great old man for some years, I was quite prepared to believe that he did know, because he said,